Hello friends, Palm Tree Piper here, and I can't believe we're already down the downside of 2025. The time flies, and what a year it's been. We had social political turmoil here in the US, economic uncertainty around the world, and if you're a member of the pipe community, the year already kicked off to a rocky start the day after New Year's with the announcement that two venerable heavy hitter brands in the pipe tobacco industry were pretty much going away. Now, with all government regulations and all other things, and now this, is it the end of tobacco as we know it? We'll discuss the possibility, key industry trends, government regulations, and a few hacks and simple horse sense strategies to position yourself to stay smoky, safe, and blessed, even through the most turbulent of times, right after this. The harsh reality is that according to industry insiders, the pipe tobacco industry as a whole is currently shrinking at the rate of about 10% per year. Now, careful with the math. That doesn't mean that tobacco will disappear in 10 years. It's not a straight line calculation. I don't know the actual figures, but let's say for the purpose of this illustration that the industry total in dollars is $1 billion. Again, this is an arbitrary figure. We begin with $1 billion. And year two at $900 million, that's 1 billion minus 10% or $100 million. Year three is $810, that's $810 million. Year four is $729 million, and so on and so forth. The decline is a little more gradual than you might have thought, but concerning nonetheless. The decline can be attributed to factors like government regulation, market shifts, and cultural and demographic changes, like baby boomers, the last generation to live the tail end of the golden age of pipe smoking, are aging out. Let's start with government regulation. There have been significant changes to FDA regulations regarding pipe tobacco in the last decade or two. The Family Smoking Prevention and Tobacco Control Act in 2009 gave the FDA authority to further regulate the manufacture, distribution, and marketing of tobacco products. Now that's on top of those that were put in place in the late 1960s through the 1970s. While the primary focus is on cigarettes, it didn't take long for tobacco to come up on the radar. In 2016, the FDA's deeming rule extended its regulatory authority to include pipe tobacco. This meant that any new brands introduced after February 15, 2007 needed to go through a rigorous, lengthy, and very expensive approval process with no guarantee that they will ultimately sign off on the blend. Many smaller manufacturers couldn't keep up with these requirements and closed down. The impact just wasn't felt by manufacturers. Local tobacco shops also took the hit. Many of these shops are small and family-owned businesses that thrived on the diversity of products they offer. With fewer blends available and with rising state taxes, they just couldn't keep up and had to shut down. Here's an important factor. Stop the hate. And here's where I'm going with this. On July 1st, 2024, Scandinavian Tobacco Group, also known as STG, closed the acquisition, that is, the purchase of Mac Baren Tobacco, which included Sutliff Tobacco as a wholly owned subsidiary. On November 6, 2024, Mac Baren ceased tobacco production, and STG began the process of moving machinery and consolidating production to its own facility. On January 2nd of this year, STG announced that Sutliff Tobacco would cease operations in March with a 95% of the combined Mac Baren and Sutliff portfolio going away. That made a lot of folks angry, made me angry too. Over 400 different tobacco blends, the largest single company portfolio in the industry, was going away. Mind you, not that I smoked them all. Some were and still are among my favorites. Others were not my cup of tea, or I didn't get around to trying them. But it was nice to know that 400 were still there. STG got a lot of backlash for it. Folks saying they were boycotting any and all of their brands. First off, there are a little over 2 million pipe smokers in America, the vast majority of whom are smoking whatever's available at the local drugstore. Hardcore enthusiasts, that's people like you and me, if you're watching this, waiting for the latest small batch to drop, participating on blogs, making videos. They only number around a few thousand. Now, I don't think that boycotting, a few thousand people boycotting them, is going to bring the company to its knees. And I'm not going to challenge anyone's convictions. Look, it's up to you if you want to boycott it. But let's look at STG, Mac Baren, and the circumstances behind the sale and STG's decision to discontinue blends. Now, hear me out. I'm not defending their position, but simply wanted to present it matter-of-factly from a business perspective. Mac Baren had been family owned by the Hallbergs since its founding 140 years ago, and over time became one of the world's largest pipe tobacco companies, purchasing Sutliff Tobacco in 2013. When company president Henrik Hallberg passed away in 2021, he was the last of the family with a passion for tobacco. The rest, owning other companies in diverse industries, decided to get out of the tobacco business altogether and sold Mac Baren to STG last year. It wasn't some hostile buyout or takeover. It was a mutually agreed upon transaction. Sutliff, owned by Mac Baren, had no say in the matter, and there were no stipulations in the sales contract to keep it running. A lot of folks say that STG simply wanted nothing more than to eliminate the competition, which is largely true, but not in the way that you might think. It's a little more complicated than the scorched earth and take no prisoners theory. STG effectively eliminated the competition by absorbing it when they bought Mac Baren and Sutliff. So why didn't they simply let them continue business as usual? I mean, good companies making good tobacco, and if it's not broke, don't fix it, right? Like many of you, I wish it had been that simple, but unfortunately it's not. Again, Mac Baren was family owned, so as long as they didn't break any laws, they were free to run their business as they saw fit, which included giving Sutliff a lot of autonomy to operate in the U.S. market, which turned out pretty well. STG is publicly traded on the Danish stock market, which means it's governed by different rules. Transparency of reporting requirements, additional regulatory oversight by a government, major business decisions may require a consensus, and many more. It's answerable to its shareholders, folks who've invested money in the company and are looking to get their piece of the profits. Now, that's called return on investment. This means that corporate executives need to walk a fine line of satisfying shareholders as well as customer needs. Consistent high return on investment is a key factor in driving up the stock, which shareholders can sell to make even more money. Maximizing ROI means running the business as lean and efficiently as possible, which sometimes means making some pretty tough decisions that may impact the number of people in different ways. The first and most important task for STG was figuring out how to integrate Mac Baren into the established framework of its operations and business model. Now that means managing facilities and product offerings, beginning with moving Mac Baren's machinery into its own plant and everything centralized under one roof. Then there was product management, eliminating duplication with its own equivalent blends and even redundancy within Sutliff's portfolio, which included some of the same blends renamed for different markets. Each inventory item has a stock keeping unit, also called a SKU, to help track and manage it. A SKU can represent not only a particular tobacco blend, but quantities as well. For example, a blend can be offered in 1, 4, and 8 ounce bags, now comes in 4 different SKUs. Sutliff had over 900. More SKUs means greater cost to manage inventory and product offerings. Then there's a look at which blends were selling well and which weren't. Dead stock also cost money, as well as production volume. With a minimum production run of 4,000 pounds, you're not going to see any STG small batch blends anytime in the future. Another factor to consider was the hidden gem in the acquisition that very few people in the pipe community talk about. Mac Baren's smokeless tobacco division, namely their snus tobacco pouches, a growing market where STG previously had no presence, and that alone could have been worth the sale price. Keep in mind that while pipe tobacco is still a moneymaker, cigars are a bigger product for STG as well as most other tobacco companies. When you go to the corporate website, don't be surprised if you see stogies rather than pipes on their main page. In the US alone, cigar smokers outnumber pipe smokers 3-1. I don't expect by explaining the machinations of corporate bean counters and suits to be a consolation to any of you, but also keep in mind that STG isn't just about Captain Black and Borkum Riff available at the corner drugstore. With over 85% of the world market share, it's very likely that they make or control companies that make your beloved tobacco blends that you already smoke. I found a comprehensive list of who makes what throughout the industry as of January of this year that I posted on my Instagram page in the link below. It's pretty eye-opening. You can still find a number of Mac Baren and Sutliff blends on popular websites and even your local brick and mortar cigar and pipe shops. They produced a lot of tobacco before the factories closed, but when stocks are depleted, that's all there is. Which brings me to my next point. Cellaring tobacco. Perhaps the most practical way to enjoy tobacco into the future is to cellar it. Buy and store your favorite blends in bulk. Many tobaccos age well, particularly Virginias and Virginia Periques, and cellaring not only secures your personal supply, but often improves the smoking experience over time. Focus on blends that you love, and those that may become rare or discontinued. Store them in sealed tins or in mason jars in a cool, dark place. There are many resources that will help you do this. Educate yourself on tobacco blends and their components. Educating oneself about different tobacco varieties and components is one of the most empowering tools a pipe smoker can have, especially in a shrinking market. Tobacco knowledge helps you to recognize the quality of unfamiliar blends. A tobacco simply labeled as Virginia Perique blend becomes much more meaningful when you understand the depth and flavor that can be achieved by different curing methods, components, leaf cuts, and the aging process that can help you identify and support those crafting blends that cater to your specific profiles. Tobacco knowledge transforms a passive consumer into an empowered participant, ready to adapt, create, and thrive in a changing dynamic landscape, supporting smaller and independent blenders. Many boutique blenders and small companies still craft high-quality blends. Supporting them helps keep the hobby alive, and buying from these producers sends a message that there's still a demand for artisan-level pipe tobacco. The pipe community is stronger than ever, especially online. Forums like Pipe Smokers Den, Facebook, YouTube channels in the YTPC, like mine, help smokers share information, trades, and support. Let's talk about blending tobacco. Even if your favorite blend disappears, learning to blend your own tobacco can be fun and a rewarding part of the hobby. Many online shops sell blending tobaccos like Perique, Burley, and Latakia for home blending and lets you tailor the experience to your taste. Another important thing to consider is preserving the culture. If you're making videos or sharing your smoking stories, restoring pipes, or introducing new smokers to the craft, preserving and promoting the culture helps ensure that the hobby survives even amid a shrinking market. All is not lost. As long as there's someone willing to craft a pipe, someone willing to grow the tobacco, there will certainly be us wanting to smoke it. I hope these hacks will help you through the times ahead. If you have any questions, always drop a line below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more hacks and tips on remaining smoky, safe, and blessed. Take care.